We are live with Glen Vries, president and co-founder of Medidata. Glen, could you tell us a little bit more about Medidata?
Sure. What we do is we connect all the doctors, the nurses, and the patients, the volunteers who go into clinical trials to help make sure that we get the most effective, safest medications to market as quickly as possible and into the hands of patients who need them.
Now, you co-founded the company in 1999 and went public in 2009. Can you tell us what it meant to you to list on NASDAQ?
Listing on NASDAQ was a really important day for Medidata. We were a relatively small startup company. We grew up in the late 90s, and in New York City, we were competing against a much larger public company that was based in Boston, and we really wanted to have a credible public soapbox where we could tell people how exciting the future of electronic clinical trials was. Listing on NASDAQ was the day that we got that soapbox, and it changed the trajectory of our company.
So do you see yourself more as a scientist or an entrepreneur?
I still wake up in the morning and see kind of the word scientist in the mirror over my head. I think it's great to be an entrepreneur, but to be able to start a company and help so many companies, Medidata services over half of the life sciences industry, in the name of getting these drugs into the market, as I said before, to patients who need them, that's exciting to somebody who identifies themselves with healthcare. And to me, that's what gets me up every morning.
That's awesome. Now, the Medidata cloud platform has transformed clinical development. What is the next big thing for Medidata in 2016? More sophisticated data and analytics, tapping into new markets or launching new products?
Yeah, so I said that we connect all the doctors and the nurses and the patients who are in clinical trials. I think if you look at 2016 and really the next half decade, when you look at healthcare in general, and very specifically the world of clinical trials, those patients and how they're connected is going to change everything. We are now living in a world, I'm actually wearing one today, where activity trackers, medical devices can be attached to our bodies and can stream objective data that we can use to do even better science, even more specific science than we could have ever done in the past. So the connected patient is going to change the way we look at how valuable drugs are. The connected patient is going to change the way we identify who the best patients are to receive a particular therapy, who's responding to them. So the actual physical devices, getting that data into the Medidata cloud, that's where we come in, and providing the analytics that really shows who's benefiting from a new drug, that's going to define the future of Medidata, or at least how we're going to support the future of life sciences.
That's awesome. Now, you're also the vice chairman of Young Scientists Foundation.
Yes.
Tell us about the organization.
So the Young Scientists Foundation is about 4 years old. It was founded by two friends of mine, one of whom is a chef, and one of whom is a physician scientist. And actually, one was at the bar of the restaurant of the other when the idea got hatched. And they realized that there's a particular kind of mentorship. When you can take a high school student who's never worked in a lab, who's never had a real eureka moment, and actually have them not just clean up the glassware in the lab, but actually run their own experiments, have that eureka moment before they go to college, before they go to medical school or graduate school. You can actually change the career path of a talented young person who might have missed the fact that there's amazing opportunity in science. Our mission is to take students from all walks of life, give them that opportunity to have a eureka moment and really help science education in the United States get the best and brightest students into it.
That's great. Now, do you also have a mentor in your career, or who's had the biggest impact on your career?
Actually, the person who probably had the biggest impact on my career was my boss's boss's boss at the Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center. We founded Medidata here in the city because also here in the city, a couple miles uptown at Presbyterian Hospital, Dr. Carl Olson told me that I had to run a clinical trial. And I was always kind of a computer nerd, and I realized that there was really terrible software to work on clinical trials. This is in the middle 90s. And that led myself, the person who shared my lab bench, his name was Ed Iguchi, he was a resident at the time, and Tariq Sharif, who's currently Medidata's CEO, caused the three of us to get together and start our company. If it hadn't been for Dr. Olson trusting me to do this, pushing me to do it, and giving me the freedom to think about running a clinical trial in new ways, Medidata wouldn't exist today.
That's perfect. Well, thank you for that background. Thank you for the overview on Medidata, exactly what you do, as well as the Young Scientists Foundation and your position within the community and being a mentor for other young students and scientists. We thank you for being here at NASDAQ as well, for ringing the opening bell.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
it was a pleasure.